Good morning. Um, I had an experience yesterday, and I'm going to walk you through the experience and then tell you about something Jesus showed me in the Spirit probably about a week ago. And I've just been like, well, I don't even know what you just showed me. I have an idea, but now it's all come clear. So just stick with me, and hopefully the video won't last that long. Um, okay, so I recently had a brake job done on my vehicle, and I was absolutely disgusted when they came in and said, "Oh, we were actually going to need another rotor on that one side." And I said, "No, not today, no," because it already cost $200. So I was like, "No," and I had determined that I was not going back there. I'm like, another one bites the dust, because two paychecks before that, I went to another place here, and I had my shocks done, and they said, "Oh, we are also going to need, I don't know, the things that goes with shocks." And I was going to do my brakes then, but because it took my whole income tax check, I said, "No, I can't do that." And they had quoted me one price, and it ended up being $20 more. And the guy that had taken me home blurted out to another customer, "Oh, this is the price, and it includes taxes." And I was like, "Well, thank you." So now I know what kind of company this is. And I determined I wasn't going back there. And this has been my experience throughout, pretty much. Just constant people screwing me over. Except for this one time when I went to a dealership, and they had screwed me over so many times. But God linked me up with this one guy, and he's like, "Trudy, if you can hang with me, I'm going to find you one." He said, "Cars come in all the time, and we'll get you one." Okay, so it was like 6:30 at night, and he called me and said, "Trudy, we have this vehicle." And he said, "If you get up here right now, we're going to give this $7,000 car to you for $4,000." I said, "Well, it needs to be $39.99.99 or whatever, because I don't want to pay taxes." And I ended up, they made it $4,000, so I had to pay taxes, and I didn't have sales tax. So I had determined, well, okay, this is just a thing. I guess people just can't do right anymore. They have no integrity, right? So everything went wrong with the car. And it took a month for me to actually get possession. And when I got possession of the car crapped out immediately. And so they did right by me. I couldn't believe everything that they did. They did right by me. So I was like, wow, this is awesome. And so that car lasted, I think, 2 years. And it was just an excellent car. I mean, I didn't have any major repairs at all on it after they got done with it. It was awesome. And when I came to move, I had quit a job, and then we ended up, because Jesus said so, and I didn't realize what he was doing. I just follow him. That I always just follow him, and I never realize what he's doing. And I went out to start my car one day, and it was just nothing, just no screen. So, for the last week of that one job, and I had no idea I was quitting, I had to drive Lucas's car because my car was crapped out. And then we lost the apartment, and I was like, what am I going to do with this car? No one can even start it, no one can move it, nothing could go on. So I went back to that dealership, and God gave me this guy who said, "Can you just take some pictures?" And I said, "I already have them." So I showed him all the pictures. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're so going to take that car." They came out and they checked. It was the alternator. So he was going to give me $2,500 for the car, which, think about it, I paid $4,000. He's given me $2,500, and it's been 2 years. minus the towing fee and the alternator. So I ended up with $1,500, which bought my little $1,200 car out here. God's awesome. That's all I can say. And this car, I've just been working on a little bit at a time, but it still gets me where I need to go, point A to point B, and so I go to this place to get my brakes done, and 2 days ago I came out and it said low brake fluid. In all the years I've owned cars, I'm 54, all right, and I've owned cars since I was 18. There's never been low brake fluid. Totally freaked me out. So I made it to work, and I only had like $30 left in my name. So I got my brake fluid. And this one right here is absolutely going to blow your mind. There was a customer who she had used like all of her little gift cards with like 70 cents on one, 10 cents on another, just to pay for the little bit that she had. And she owed $3.32. I just got out my card and paid for it because I knew it was the right thing to do. And I was like, Jesus, I don't even know what's going on, but I'm just going to follow you. All right. So I went back there and I found the cheapest brake fluid I could find, and when after my Walmart discount, my price was $3.32. I was like, is that the same price that I paid for that lady? That's something. What you trying to say here? And I was like, I think I'm just supposed to continue following you. Okay, I'm just going to follow you on this. So I called yesterday, and they said after I get done with work, I could come. And he would look at my brakes. And he came back in and he said, Trudy, something is bad. I don't even know what was bad. But he goes, it's $16. And I said, honey, I don't have $16 until the next paycheck, which isn't this Thursday. It's the next Thursday. It seems like forever. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to cover the cost for you. What? Well, because people don't do that. So you're just going to cover the cost for me? He said, yeah, I've got it for you. Okay. So here's the thing I want to focus in on. I'm sitting there and I'm feeling all sorts of feeling, and I'm like, Jesus, I cannot figure out what is going on here. I'm not even happy about it. Was that a love opportunity? I'm not even grateful. Something's missing. Something's going on in the spirit. What's going on? I'm not understanding. I need help. And I kept working and working and working, trying to get through my mind. And then I was like, okay, let's start with judgment. Is there a judgment? Yes. Yes, there's a judgment. I felt like they did me wrong because it wasn't the price they quoted me. Just like the other, it wasn't the price they quoted me. And even with my discount, it was still more than what they quoted me. So I got to let that judgment go. And then I was like, there's like something fighting in me. What is that? I don't fight for me. I gave that up. So what's fighting in me? And I finally came to it when I got home. I mean, and when I say that I didn't have any money, I allocate my monies for whatever it belongs to. So I already had the little tiny bit. I didn't have any moving room. I had it already gone, is what I'm saying. So I'm feeling like I lied, and I'm like, I feel like a smoker, who's always got cigarette money, because you got to have that. And I'm like, what? Jesus, what's going on? I finally got home and I was like, I felt entitled to their integrity. I felt entitled to their integrity. And so if they don't even know what the word is, because by and large, it's not practiced today. Integrity is not practiced because the system that was built on competition and doing right by people and giving them goods and services that they would want over other people's because they didn't have it, that's gone. So it's literally personal integrity now. And I'm thinking, entitled? I passed that system a long time ago, self-preservation and entitlement. Why would I feel entitled? Aha, now we come to it. In 1 Corinthians 13, I'm just going to focus on the one little part of the verse that says, love does not demand its own way. Why would love not demand its own way? Why would love not say, you said you were going to do this and you didn't do it? Because love lives eternally. It doesn't live in the past and it doesn't live in the future. It lives right in the is without judgment. So whatever someone says they're going to do, if they fall short of it, that is where their heart is. And you are to walk away and let it be where it is. You give whatever that ground is, you lift it up to Daddy God and leave it. So now we come to what I saw in the Spirit, and I'm going to read the verse first, and then I'll show you what I got. So let me minimize this here real quick. I think there we go. It is in Luke 8, and it says, let me make sure it's Luke 8. Yeah, Luke 8. It's the parable of the sower. And when a great multitude had gathered, and they had come to him from every city, he spoke by a parable. A sower went out to sow his seed, and as he sowed, okay, here's the first ground. Some fell by the wayside, and it was trampled down, and the birds of the air devoured it. Here's the second ground. Some fell on rock, and as soon as it sprung up, it withered away because it lacked moisture. Here's the third ground. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up with it and choked it. Here's the fourth ground. But others fell on good ground, sprang up, and yielded a crop 100-fold. When he had said these things, he cried, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. Okay, so what I actually saw in the Spirit, let me maximize this again here. What I saw in the Spirit was ground. I could see the top of the ground up here, and then I could see like an enclosed, almost like a pod, okay, like a seed. If you were to look at a baby in the womb, that's what it looked like. Baby in the womb here, and then baby in the womb here, baby in the womb here, and baby in the womb here. But they were seeds, and I knew that what I was seeing in the Spirit was that parable. I was like, ooh. And I really focused in on that first one because the first one looked dead. It was completely just dead. I'm like, huh. And then the second one looked alive but different. And this one looked more mature, and this one looked like, oh, this is the one we're after. Okay. So I was like, okay. So Jesus, we have to come through all of the grounds? And he said, yes, and that's it. And I was like, I didn't even think about it again. Okay, so I realized that with quantum physics and everything that we're coming up in with in science, the new discoveries, there's one that really stuck with me. Sorry, my earbud keeps falling out. they're talking about how that I lost my train of thought, so I'll just go back to this anyways. On the first one, we are dead. Spiritually, we're dead. And so in that first ground, well, if it falls on the wayside, it can't ever grow. So, dead. We're dead. We are dead to what our connection is to life. Oh, because check this out. Every last one of those pods were connected to each other. It's like they were enclosed by themselves, but the connection went from like one life to another life to another life to another life. And you guys do understand that 4 is direction and order. So when Jesus was giving the parable, he was giving us the order of things. He was giving us how we move from death to life. He takes us through every one of those grounds. And so as I reflect on the experiences that I've had just with cars, I think about how I moved from death to life concerning my provision of transportation. When he gave me my first real car, I mean, I didn't have to pay anything for it. No, come to think of it, I did. I was paying for cars all the time, right? And everybody's always done me wrong. And when I was 8, back when, in 2010, when I traded in my car like 5 times in 1 year, of course I got upside down. And it was because fear ate me for dinner. So I was dead to God providing for me. I had to provide for myself. Okay? And wow, I'm verbally processing it with you while I'm walking it through. And then I finally stopped trading in things because I just couldn't get any more in debt. I mean, there's this one car, I'd moved from that to this one where I'm like, I am not trading in anymore. I'm done. I had traded in my car for whatever they could give me, and my payment was $384 for the worst car I've had. And I just kept feeling that entitlement come up. I deserve more. I work hard, and I deserve more. And people should be able to look at me and go, well, wow. You know, that's all I could think about. Is like when people looked at me and they looked at my car, was like, well, she's got a piece of crap car. No, they didn't even care. They don't care what you drive. Oh my gosh. So I traded that in 2012. Yeah, in 2012 for, I believe it was my Scion. Maybe. I don't know, it was a box car. Yeah, I think that was a Scion. And I kept that one for 2 years. And my final time, so that was from the one ground to the other, where I had finally stopped allowing, Jesus had given me a dream where I was holding the car between my legs, and Lucas goes, Mom, it sounds to me like you're just holding on to guilt and shame. You just need to let that go. Oh, so I did. And when I did, he blessed me with the car that I kept for 2 years. And every time I would just go look at cars or something, and I don't even know what I was looking for. I said no. And my kids even got to the point where like, Mom, please, just no more cars. So in 2014, I don't know what I was thinking, but I took my car and traded it in on the very last car. And it was the blue one, and it was so beautiful. And Lucas and Lee were like, this is the best car we've ever had. We love this car. And I was working at the revenue office. It was all good. We We were making it, but it was tight because my car payment was just outlandish. It was horrible. Just was. And God forbid anything go wrong with it. And the guy that got me the car, he really had to work to get me approved. So I had no idea what Jesus had in store for me in 2014, that I was going to leave my job and walk with him in a way that I could never even imagine. And if you would have warned me in advance, I would have said, no, I'm going to go ahead and leave this walk right now. And I am not kidding with you, because I loved security so much. I cannot tell you how much I loved security. I love comfort and I love security, and there is no way, if he would have even given me a heads up where he was leading me, I would have left then and there. No matter if it cost me forever, I didn't care. I loved comfort that much, and I want you to know that, okay? So we're on the third one right now. And after I had quit my job at the revenue office in 2014, I had it figured out where we would make it for 6 months, because they owed me 450 hours. I didn't count on them only paying me 200. So, wow, I was really scared then. And I did what I could. So in January of 2017, I said, or 2015, I said, you know what, Jesus, I'm going to let it go. So I called up the company and said, just come get your car. Just come get your car. So they came and repossessed my car. And I cannot tell you the release that I felt. And I moved into the final pod, where everything that I was producing from then on was no longer dead works, but they were alive. And that happened in 2015. And from then on, it would look like from the outside that my life went from bad to absolutely the worst it could finally get, because my car was repossessed, my house was foreclosed on, bankruptcy, I filed for bankruptcy, everything you could possibly lose. And then I eventually ended up losing my kids, and everything just looked absolutely horrible. But as I followed Jesus in that whole new life, I am here to tell you the biggest blessings and the best rewards came out of that. So I said all of that to say this: if it looks like you're living the same circumstances over and over and over again, you are. You absolutely are. There are some people, you're like, they are never touched by tornadoes. They are never touched by this, that, and whatever else. Well, that's because they don't have the seed in them. They are not interested in growing love. They're interested in their comfort. And they will remain wherever they are. And you have to let them go. Okay? But we are His seed. We are called to a higher life. And His life is, the cool thing about the connection, I'm not going to make up crap. I'm just going to say, I don't know how that works, if it's all in one lifetime. I do know we get 2 lives because it says so. With the transfiguration thing, He lets you know that John the Baptist was in fact Elijah. I don't know how that all works, and I don't want to, because I'm a need-to-know girl. But I do know that the whole purpose, this is the thing that gets me. It's not in maturing you. It is maturing the soul so that the spirit within the soul can transform territory. Because we're all underground. Did y'all saw that, right? I told you we're underground. So when we come up through that ground, a transformed human, everything we step on the ground is transformed. That's incredible. We have the power to do that. And don't even, no, I know some of y'all, oh, she in that weird mystical stuff, whatever. I don't care how you interpret what I'm saying. Word is word, and how it works belongs to word. So how you see it isn't right or wrong. Because we're not actually about right or wrong. You can be in a different perspective. You can have a different idea. You can see things the way God has made you to see things and be where you are, and it still be okay with Jesus. Believe me, I have misunderstood so much stuff, and I've misinterpreted and all that, but He allows us to have our perspective without interruption because it's in the maturing process. And it's not that He's interested in an end result. He wants you to be walking this earth, transforming everybody and everything you see by the power of love. And I am seeing right now, I know this sounds horrible, but disasters bring out the worst and the best in people. And I am absolutely just amazed about what's going on in Rogers and in Bentonville. I lived in both places, and every day when Jesus was leading me, I would pray over that territory, and I would lift it up and say, Jesus, I pray that your love transform this whole place, that everybody is reaching out to one another. They're no longer closed. And just look. And I have never, the one place I have never lived is in Decatur and Gentry or Gravette. Those particular areas, I've never lived in those areas. In Gravette, I did get to work in the office for a week, and I prayed the whole week I was there. And I'm saying to you guys, you think that you're little and small, but if Jesus, who is Word, is working through you, it doesn't matter about time or space or any of that stuff, because love is not matter-based, it's eternally based. And if you're speaking out His Word wherever you are, He then has the right to transform that territory. And He will continually, after you leave, after that one prayer has been prayed, believe it or not, He will continually, now He has a line, He has a connection. He will continually bring His seed into that particular position or place to operate in, and more will happen. And I'm here to tell you that is, oh, I just love how He works. It's incredible. So I want you to be encouraged, and nothing that you do, nothing, swiping your card when you see someone who's $3 short or $4 or $5 or whatever, 50, 100, it doesn't matter. Just swiping that card. It seems small and insignificant, but that love opportunity has seed in it. And that person is carrying it away in their heart. And it's going to grow them up. And then they're going to do the same thing. I love how people call it paying it forward. You can say that. I don't care. And Jesus doesn't either. Because the whole point is that it repeats itself again and again and again, and it grows bigger and bigger. And I long to see Siloam Springs transformed. But I want to reach out to you guys and say, every single territory has an entity that has been given power over that territory. And for the longest time, I couldn't understand what had this territory. But Jesus revealed to me, and He's allowing me to reveal to you now what it is. For Bentonville and Rogers, that area, Rogers is a little bit different, but Pride definitely has had Bentonville. because they want to announce to everybody how beautiful and wonderful they are. And although they reach out to other people, they're letting other people know this is what we're doing. And I understand that they're doing that even now, and God resists the proud. But here's what you don't understand, is that there are little people who don't have any names, who don't have any backing behind them. And I had a customer tell me, my daughter was so moved with compassion. She's like, she got like bottled water and took it to the workers. You can't tell me that didn't affect people, because it did. Okay, it doesn't take a big company. It doesn't take a big anything. It takes individuals moved with compassion to go, I'm going to do this little thing. I've got this amount of money, and I'm going to go spend it on them. I'm going to go do this. That's what changes people. Okay, but so here in Siloam, when I got back here, I was like, Jesus, I just can't feel at home. I don't know what's wrong. And at one point he told me it's because Bentonville operates on a higher frequency. They're more matured, okay, than Siloam. And I'm like, okay. And sure enough, education level in Bentonville, 58% or has a bachelor's degree or above. And I'm sorry, going to school, getting educated, maturing your mind affects how you love people. It affects how you process information, okay? Here, 28, it's like 23%. And I'm like, but we have a college too. I'm not understanding why people are not maturing. Well, when he revealed to me, I was talking with a coworker, and Holy Spirit said, lethargy. And I went, what? You're just going to say it just like that, but like it's just going to come out. Yeah, Holy Spirit said lethargy. And I was like, I mean, I know what that... Immediately when you say lethargy, you're thinking, oh, lazy. No. There's something in the definition that's even more powerful. Indifference. And Jesus has something to say about that particular church that is neither hot nor cold, lukewarm. And isn't it interesting that it's in Siloam Springs, Shiloh, where the water is not cool to refresh, neither is it hot to bring a little bit of comfort, to warm you up, to warm your coldness up. Neither. Right in the middle. And he says, I'm going to spew you out of my mouth. Lethargy. Lethargy, when it comes to the Spirit, is seeing truth, knowing truth, looking at it and going, so? And walking right away from it. It has zero effect. It's non-effective. And that means no matter what, if that's where your heart is, where you can see truth, know truth, and it not be able to touch that stony heart, what can Jesus do but break you up? And I'm here to tell you, Siloam, even though the tornado missed us this time, it will be aimed for us directly next time. If we do not fall upon our faces, not our knees. No, you bow that knee. If we do not fall upon our faces and repent for a freaking stony heart toward the truth of the living God, which is God is love, and he doesn't prefer one person above the other. No one is above you. No one is below you because you have an education and they don't. Because they live in a trailer house, because they live in a lean-to, because they're homeless. If they would have just done the system right, they don't want to live in the system. They've got that figured out. They're actually above you in the process. And they still take care of their neighbors. Isn't that amazing? Do you know that most of the people out here that's in Decatur and in Gravette, all them, lots of them live in trailers, and do you know the first thing they did? They ran out of their house and they went next door and they checked on their neighbors. Shalom. May God have mercy upon us. We are supposed to be the light of the world. We are supposed to be shining out. Do you remember that Shiloh was the place they washed before they went into the temple? This is it. And I mean it. This is an absolute warning. It will not miss us next time. It will be a direct hit. And we will know that God means what he says. And I am no prophet, but word is word. All right, I'm going to end it on that. I love you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.